Hi everybody, my name's Andrew and today I'm driving our 2020 Toyota CHR Limited. September of last year, I put out a video giving you guys a 1-year ownership review of this car. And as of right now, it is the most popular video on my channel. I think as of this week it has about 45,000 views, which is also about half of the entire views of my channel as a whole. So since that video and the subsequent in-depth walk-around video did pretty well, I figured I'd give you guys a 2-year update because we've now had this car for 2 years and about 25,000 miles. So in today's video, I'm going to share a few updates, share what, if anything, has happened since the last video, and also just talk about what it's generally been like to live with, a few observations that we've had over the last 2 years. If this is the first video you're watching on our CHR, I'll save you some time and give you a little walk around here. Like I said at the beginning, it's a 2020 model year CHR Limited. In the US, this is the highest spec you could get on this car. They only offered 1 drivetrain option here and 3 trim levels. Our particular car is finished in supersonic red with the black contrast roof. 2020 model year brought a slight facelift, bringing full LED headlights, different wheels, minor interior changes, things like that. Since the CHR was originally designed to be a Scion product, you get lots of funky styling angles. You get these door handles up here, which personally I love. Giant turn signals on the front, things like that. A lot of people have said that they don't like the way the CHR looks. They think it's ugly, but personally, I think the fact that it's kind of funky actually makes it kind of cool. I wouldn't say it's a beautiful car, you know, in the same way a Jaguar E-Type is beautiful, but it is still kind of cool looking, I think. The interior features simple black leather upholstery. In my opinion, these seats are still super comfortable. And overall, this interior is held up really well. And of course, my favorite thing about this interior is the diamond theme. And what do I mean by that? Well, pretty much every surface in this interior has either some sort of diamond shape or texture. Everything. I do mean everything. So let's talk about what's happened since the 1-year update video. Well, the car's held up really well, I must say. Although, to be fair, it's a Toyota. You wouldn't really expect anything to go wrong yet. I mean, it's only 2 years old. It's got 25,000 miles. That's just what Toyotas do, okay? It's not my Audi S4, which is 4 years old, and I just had to put a new wheel bearing in it, but that's a whole nother story. It has picked up a few minor scratches here and there, which are not the car's fault. There's 2 little scuffs on the back by the tailgate, probably caused from loading things in or out. But the worst is on the back right fender, like wheel arch trim. My mom had a little bit of an incident with a pole, sort of scraped up against it and tore up the plastic and put a few scratches in the paint there. But again, that's not the car's fault. And overall, it's still in great condition. Honestly, really the only other notable thing is the fact that the power folding mirrors sometimes don't work. They're supposed to fold in when you lock the car, and you can also control them manually from a switch on the door. But sometimes when I get in the car, they just randomly won't work. I don't know what's causing it. It may be a short somewhere. It may be the switch. Either way, it's something that we'll probably have looked at on the next service visit because obviously that will still be covered under warranty at this point. As far as other observations, there is a little bit more to talk about there. The biggest thing being that my mom has now started to complain about this car being slow. And yes, it's not fast. It is faster than some of the other cars we looked at. We also drove a Subaru Crosstrek before we bought this, and that thing was ungodly slow. Now, I think she just looks at it from the perspective of it's not as fast as her last car, which was an Acura TSX. Obviously, that's not a fast car either necessarily, but we have different scales here. We got to remember that. But either way, that has started to bug her. And personally, I don't think it's that bad, but at the end of the day, she's the one driving this car, so that's what matters. I guess we'll see what happens with that. Personally, I have two complaints, both sort of with the interior of the car. Number one is the amount of piano black trim on the inside, which other people hate as well, I know. And I didn't think it was going to be that bad, because I've never really had another car with a lot of piano black trim, but it is awful. It looks fine, like styling-wise, you know, and it's not really reflective at all, which is good. But good Lord, it collects dust and fingerprints, and when you spill things on it, it just looks terrible right now. Also, the lane keep assist. I absolutely hate the lane keep assist in this car, because when you turn it on, it says on the gauge cluster, it says steering assist active, but it doesn't actually have any steering assist, or at least it doesn't have lane centering or any sort of advanced, or that's not the right word, preemptive steering assist, I guess. It only steers for you a little bit once you've already crossed the lane line, and it just sort of jerks it back a little bit, and then you have to correct it. You have to correct it yourself. So really all it just does is just beep at you for the most part, and I never use it, and to be honest, I don't think she ever uses it either, probably for the same reason. We both do agree on liking the radar cruise control though, as well as some of the other features that the car has, like blind spot monitoring, because those funky styling angles do give you pretty big blind spots. So the blind spot monitoring in this car is pretty much necessary. And also we agree on the fact that we really wish this car was a hybrid. As I said before, Toyota only offered one drivetrain option in the CHR in the US, because in pretty much every other global market, it's either standard hybrid or there is a hybrid version available. But for whatever reason, they decided not to bring the hybrid here. It doesn't get bad fuel economy, because at the end of the day, it is still a little four-cylinder. It's not very powerful, and it's got front-wheel drive. But just looking at what the hybrid version could do makes us wish that they did bring it here. That's actually a good segue into the last thing that I wanted to talk about, which is costs. Even though it's not a hybrid, it still gets pretty good fuel economy. I think about 30 mpg is what we've been averaging on a day-to-day basis, which for the type of car that it is not bad. And it uses regular 87 octane, so it is pretty cheap to fill up. As far as maintenance costs go, we haven't had any yet, although coming soon we will, because when we got the car, we got the first 2 years of maintenance for free. I think most new Toyotas do. It's called Toyota Care, maybe, or something like that. But either way, our next service, oil change, tire rotation, things like that, will be costs out of pocket. And to be honest, the 3-year update, if that happens, which it probably will, we probably will have incurred more big costs by then, such as brakes or tires. I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But either way, as of right now, we really haven't had to pay for anything with this car outside of, you know, the standard fuel, insurance, things that you have to pay for with any car. Anyway, that's where I'm going to wrap this video up. I just wanted to say thank you for all of the comments and questions that I've gotten on the last 2 videos with this car. I've gotten so many, and I've tried to respond to them and get back to people where I can and when I see them. So if this is the first video you're watching on this car, then feel free to leave a comment here too. Or maybe you have a CHR and you have something to share. I always love seeing that as well. So with that said, thank you for watching, and consider subscribing for plenty more content with this car and others.